Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. So I think we're online, and this YouTube live interviews is starting now.
Cool.
Okay. So welcome, welcome to Nobody Surf, and it's such a pleasure to have you both on Nobody Surf YouTube live. So today, for our viewers, we're gonna release a new surf film called Chupa, which is created by A Mano Surf and Mackinnon Walker. And today we're having this special interview session, and we've invited Mackinnon and Simon. And so welcome.
Thanks for having us, Yuki.
Thank you for having.
Great to be here.
Yeah. So can you quickly introduce about yourselves to our viewers? Simon first.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Simon. I'm the founder and shaper of A Mano Surf here in Byron Bay, Australia.
I'm Mackinnon Walker. Grew up in Byron Bay. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and an artist as well, actually. And yeah, been making films for the last 15 years, sort of.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think our viewers are actually familiar with your work already, because in 2020, we released a surf film, a 15-minute surf film called A Mano Surf on our YouTube channel, which is created by both of you. And just recently, it passed 500,000 video views on our YouTube channel, and also millions of views on our social media posts. And it's been a huge success as a surf film. And it's our honor to host your second film and releasing it on our YouTube channel today. So the premiere starts in 30 minutes, so which is 7 p.m. in Australian Eastern time. And we're doing this special live interview before the actual premiere starts. And so let's get into the interview. And so this film is called Chupa. Can you tell us about what Chupa means?
We won't go in too much detail of the definition of chupa. It's actually, turns out it's a Spanish word, but that wasn't the idea behind the name of the film. There's a scene in the film that everyone will see in half an hour that is kind of like a funny kickback to the personalities of Hayden and Tommy, who are the main stars of the film. And it's just a reference to that scene.
Okay.
There was a bit of contention about whether we named it that in the end, but
yeah, it's probably going to get Googled and Urban Dictionary, but that's fine. I think it's hilarious. It wasn't the intention of the film to be called that.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of meant to be super, like it's called super, but with an accent. Chupa. Yeah.
Okay.
When you see them, understand the scene.
Okay. Yeah, they'll get it when they see the film, right? Yeah. And so when did you guys start creating this film? So it's been like more than 2 years since the release of the last film.
Yeah, essentially, after the last film was released, we kind of were super impressed by how well it was received and how many people all around the world were just, really loving what Mackie had created. So we just decided to keep the ball rolling, and we were hoping to release it within 6 months, and here we are 2 years later.
We had this big meeting like after the other one, like at the old little kind of like lake cabin that's in the first film. And we had this meeting, we sat down, we all had coffees, and we're like, yeah, let's keep the ball rolling, let's do another one. And then that was, now thinking back, probably 2 years ago. We had all this great footage that just, I don't know, I feel like it all came down to the surfers wanting better footage. And anyway, we finally got there, and 2 years later. And
these things cool. Like really real creative passion projects, sometimes they can't be forced with a deadline, and at the end of the day, all the extra time and effort that's been put into this film is really reflected. So we wanted to just keep that rolling until Mackie and Tommy and Hayden were all happy with kind of the finished product.
Nice. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your community. So you're based in Byron Bay area, and what's the community around you guys like?
Yeah, I think like the Byron area in general, we both grew up within the Byron Shire, and the surf community and the community at large is quite alternative. It's quite diverse. We have some pretty fun waves, and people of all ages and sexes and backgrounds enjoying these waves on a really diverse variety of surfboards. So the community that we've created around A Mano Surf is really just to kind of celebrate anyone that wants to be a part of it, really. Something that isn't super
Chupa.
Yeah, isn't super, you know, like defined like so often the surf industry is expressed, you know, like people can ride a variety of different boards, be from a variety of backgrounds and a variety of experience levels, but still be a part of what we're doing and yeah, be able to enjoy the ocean as we do and have for our whole lives.
Yeah, you mentioned about the variety of people and the variety of surfboards. And also in this Chupa, there are I think 7 surfboards that you shaped. And can you explain a little bit about those surfboards and how you create what type of surfboards you shape?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the majority of the surfboards that I make are all custom orders. So I make a really wide variety of craft depending on what people need and what they're interested in, you know, and where they want to take their surfing. So in this particular film, we have everything from a 5'8" fish to a 10-foot nose rider, with ASIMs, long twins, all sorts of stuff in the mix. And essentially the majority of those boards have been just the surfers' ideas and what the surfers really want to pursue and express in their surfing, you know, in their surfing life. So yeah, there's a really wide variety there. So but we're happy to kind of embrace all of like everything essentially. And the board you can see in the background behind Yuki at the moment is actually a 6-foot ASIM that is custom made for Hayden. So can't tell there, but it's an asymmetrical tail.
A couple of the boards here putting behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the details. And yeah, when you visit your website, amanosurf.com, you can see variety of boards that you shape. And yeah, so when people want to make order a surfboard to you, do they have to access your website and just send you an email?
Yeah. I mean, they can get in touch with me, however, through Instagram, via phone call or by email. But essentially the process is quite in depth and it's quite personalized. So the first step is always to have a really in-depth, like 1 to 2 hour conversation with every customer. And there we'll kind of dive into what they've surfed before, where they hope to take their surfing, the waves they like to surf. And together we'll kind of collaborate to come up with a design that maybe one of my designs that I already offer, or might be something different that is going to just allow them to enjoy the experience in the water a little bit more.
That's great. That's great. Thanks. So next, I want to ask Mac about the creative process of this film. You know, so this film, there are so many components, I think. Beautiful waves, you know, great surfers, great surfboards, and also the music. What was like the concept of this film, and what did you want to express in this film?
This film was, I guess you could say, it was kind of like a sequel to the last one. The first film was kind of like a, you know, I wanted to show off the beauty of the area as well as the surfing and introducing A Mano Surf. It was a real introductory to the brand, almost like a promotional film for the area and for the surfboards and the brand. But then this film was more to like show the characters that were within the brand and a part of the brand. So I really wanted to like, you know, two of the main surfers in the film, Hayden and Tommy, are actually like my best mates. So I really wanted to just show off their ridiculous relationship in like a comical way, like how funny and quirky they are, but also how much they shred. So I guess like the first film being introducing the surfboards, I wanted to show in this film like how they went and how well they were surfed. And
Great.
yeah, I guess this film's a little bit more surf heavy. Like there's definitely some more shredding, but I guess there's also some quirky moments and some funny stuff as well throughout.
Nice. Okay, so let's introduce some of the frame grabs from the film. So this is a cover shot that we're seeing right now. And so which part in Northern River is this? You might not be able to.
We won't go into too much detail on that one. It's a beach break on the Northern Rivers that isn't very well known, so we won't go into much detail.
Okay, great. So there's so many empty waves, and I'm super jealous watching this film. Do you guys always surf those empty ones?
No, that's why it's been 2 years in the making, Yuki.
Okay.
All the time. This was definitely the day of days, and yeah, you can tell like that was definitely a highlight from the film, and yeah, it was a hell of a day, and you can see the smiles on everyone's faces, that's for sure.
Yeah, great. And this one, the music in this film, are they all original?
Yeah, so the first one of the songs in that kind of kicks off and that was on the trailer is actually a friend's band, so a local band from Byron Bay, called Passiflores. They're you know, an up and coming kind of like, what would you say?
Psych rock, sort of alternative rock.
Yeah,
they've got some cool stuff. So they were like generous enough to allow us to use the music for this opening scene. And Tommy, who you see now pictured in the frame grab, is actually a member of the band too.
Yeah. And yeah, this scene was just like a home recording. Actually, it was kind of like not really intentionally meant to be a part of the film. It was just something that I shot one day, and yeah, it ended up being like a pretty big part of the whole film. And it was just like a really beautiful morning where the guys were jamming out and in the morning light, and you know.
Yeah, the music is always like on point, I think. The first film too, and also the second one. And there were so many comments on the first film asking about the music. And I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of inquiries about the music for this Chupa too.
Touch on the second track that's in the film, which is recorded specifically for the film by Mike Sanders. Who's a good friend of both Mackie and mine, and had made some of the music for the first film as well as this one. So yeah,
big props and big shout out to Mike Sanders. He's just released his new song on Spotify, Crystal Cylinders, which is you'll find in the link.
It'll be linked in the
description. So he's nailed it, and he's every time I give him such a relatively vague brief on what I want for the film, I'll send him a footage of one wave and he'll go, yeah, I know what you mean. That's what he did for the first film. That was one particular clip that was Tommy doing a big slow motion bottom turn on this big 6/8 twin pin. And he was like, yeah, I got the vibe. And he made the first track, which also was a banger. So
he nails it every time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sick to know. Yeah. And like we mentioned previously, there are a variety of surfboards, you know, from shortboard 5/8 fish to longboard, and do you want to talk a little bit about the locks that you shape?
The longboard, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we've actually been going pretty deep with some longboard design with both Tommy and Hayden recently. I've shaped them probably three or four longboards each over the last 6 months,
back to back,
which is sort of no mean feat when you're hand shaping. But it's such a great collaborative process as well to work with both of them and dial in exactly what they're facing in their longboards. So in this frame grab of the previous one, Tommy was riding his 10-2 nose rider, and right there Hayden's riding his 10. We call it 10-ish. It's about 911.
It's 10-ish.
10-ish.
It's a design that we haven't released, in writing yet, but it's something that's available to the public, and it's a pig-shaped longboard that has the wide point back, and has been really proving the goods for both the guys.
Should call it the 912.
912.
912. Yeah. And also there are a variety of waves, very tubey ones to very like mellow waves. And how many locations did you guys film this film?
There's a handful of waves, handful of sessions. Some of them only might have been 1 or 2 waves from a session. And I guess one of the biggest things that was a challenge and why it took so long to make the film was because the Northern Rivers got completely destroyed by like the 2020 floods. Was 2020? 2021?
Oh, it was the beginning of this year, 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
So we had some really bad floods. So the frame grab you've actually got up at the moment is taken probably 2 to 3 months after we had the floods, or maybe 2 months. And as you can see, the water's still filthy. So that really set us back, not just personally, having experienced this disaster and having friends who experienced it that we had to help out, but also because the water was filthy. So
yeah, the water was filthy, the waves weren't really desirable, and a lot of the time it was actually dangerous to go in the water because there was either debris or toxic contamination. Okay. So it was the time we should have been surfing and let alone filming. So it was kind of like a weird time that put a bit of a break on filming sessions.
Okay. Yeah. I was actually wondering, the color of the waves were really different from especially for this part, and so now I learned that it was because of the floods. And is everything okay right now in Byron Bay?
I think it's in recovery. Like everyone's still, there's definitely a lot of trauma and a lot of
still a lot of displaced people.
Displaced people and a lot of rebuilding to do, and that's not just in Byron Bay. It's just more through Lismore and throughout our whole region, country towns throughout the whole region. So it's pretty horrific to see.
Okay.
But it's it's getting there slowly.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. And so maybe we're 10 minutes into the until the premiere. So maybe can you introduce about the surfers in this film? Lastly.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to go?
I'll go first. You can do second.
Yeah.
So this is Tommy Bucco. He's a friend of mine. I've known since early age. We've grown up surfing together and competing together. And he's used to be a lot of a shortboard guy. He used to ride a lot of high performance boards. And then it was funny when we first started making the film, I put Tommy forward as a team rider for Simon and thought it'd be really good to have Tommy on, a couple of alternative boards. He'd started riding alternative boards around that time. And then, he started really diving into twin fins and asymmetrical boards. And now he doesn't really ride anything else. So I've known Tommy for a really long time. He's probably my best friend. And so he's a very good bloke.
And he's a great surfer.
And he's obviously a great surfer.
Yeah.
So, a lot of his surfing is definitely adapted over time from, being a competitive surfer to leaning into more alternative sort of lines. And then now, longboarding as well. It's a huge feat to go from, being a competitive surfer and surfing like, going for 5 turns on a wave to just picking a line that might even be 1 or 2 turns on a wave. So it's very commemorable.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And
There he is.
Gypsy. Stickman.
So yeah, this is Hayden Davies. He's not a social media guy, so a lot of people may not have heard of him, but he's just a character in and out of the water. He's quite well known locally, and most people have a lot of time for him. So he's a great surfer with a super quirky, interesting style. Somewhat of a ballerina on a longboard, and also can lay down a pretty powerful cutback too, turns out. He's actually originally from New Zealand, but he's a close friend of all of ours, and has lived locally for a few years. So that's Hayden.
Yeah, nice.
Love him.
And he's hilarious, as you'll see in the film.
Yeah.
He's he doesn't take himself very seriously, and he's just a joy to be around, really.
Yeah, we could feel that through the movie, and we really like it. And also in the film, there's Joe and yourself, Mac, right?
Yeah. So Joe gets a couple of waves, a little cameo. He was a part of a sessions, as you can see, like kind of throughout a couple of really pumping sessions, and he got some real good waves. So yeah, definitely would have been a shame to not put him in the film. And it was the same thing for me. I guess I got we were filming a session, and I got a couple of good waves, and Hayden ended up shooting me for a lot of it because it was a left.
Mackie wasn't very comfortable putting himself in the film, so maybe I'll speak on his behalf. The guy that's behind the camera is actually one of the best surfers out there on most days as well. So I've been pushing for him to get a little section in some of his films for a while, and he's finally done it. So
one session
on a custom 6.3 thruster that we shaped actually after the first film. So that was a pretty special board that he's been kind of really loving, something a little bit out of the ordinary for him.
And for you, I wanted to challenge him.
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to make him shape a short board. It was like a rounded pin, hard rails all the way up. You know, it's narrow. He thought it was too narrow when we were shaping it. He was like, it's not going to work.
I was tripping on it, but it turns out it works, and you can see that.
It's really nice to see the filmer, director, in the film too. So I think we're running out of time. So I want to let the viewers know that the premiere of this new film by A Mano Surf and Mackinnon, Chupa, it's gonna be premiere in 5 minutes, and the link is in the description of this YouTube live, or you can just visit our top page of our YouTube channel. And so thank you so much for being here, and it was super fun to have this conversation, and let's enjoy the premiere.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for the support, Yuki. We really appreciate Nobody Surf featuring all of our films, and we're really stoked to reach a great audience of people that are just stoked on surfing.
Great, thanks. So after the premiere, you can watch it whenever you want on our YouTube channel, as well as our website and smartphone apps for iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV, Android. So I think it's gonna be a long hit, and just like the first one. And let's just celebrate the premiere. Yeah, okay. So thank you. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.
Good bounce.
See ya.
Yeah, so we just ended